to wish everybody an Apraxia Awareness Day, and to every person and to every Apraxic individual, I am wishing you a lot of strength and courage. Right now, I'm in sunny SoCal, California, with my friends right now. But I decided to jump outside to do like a quick little just to talk about Apraxia and what it is. I was going to record a video, but I actually found that it would be better to do it live just because look who we have here. Alright, so in a second. The dogs are really having a good time. Bubba and Daisy, you want to say hi? Bubba, Daisy. They're just having time of their lives right now. So like, I decided to go live just in case you all had any questions. To start, Apraxia of speech is a lifelong disability. It means that your mouth and your brain are not on the same team, and I liken it to a punto jam. For example, if I want to say the word cat, it sometimes comes out as spat because my mind cannot because my mind can see the C, but my mouth wants to translate it to the letter spat. Hey Bluesy, good to see you. Another thing about Apraxia of speech is the most common diagnosis is childhood Apraxia of speech, also known as CAS. Turns out a lot of people assume that CAS magically disappears at the age 18. However, that is a lifelong neurological disorder, according to Mikey's Rish, who is another great Apraxia advocate. He's currently located in the UK and does a lot for Apraxia advocacy on the side of the pond. What I find really, look who we have here. We got so many cute dogs right now. Just wanted to say hi. So another thing about Apraxia, another wild misconception about Apraxia is that an Apraxic individual does not understand what you are saying. Same with any speech disabilities or any disabilities in general. Some people assume that I am unable to speak, that actually not speak, but I am unable to comprehend anything because my speech, according to them, sounds like I'm a 12-year-old, and therefore my intellect is equated to a 12-year-old's. That did happen a lot in middle school and high school, especially during group projects. I got passed up a lot for group projects just because people thought I can get the work done, or I can demonstrate or show the amount of knowledge that was required for the project. Oh, wait 1 second. My friends over here are getting the hot tub done. So let's move over here so some crazy and quiet. Bluesy is asking, hey, are you no longer with Roger? I'm missing you. I'm actually no longer with Roger right now because I needed time to finish my degree, which I'm finishing in the fall. Of all things, even though very few people believe that I'll ever make it to college, yes, I'm actually resuming college this fall. I do missing you too, Bluey. And as an Apraxic individual, I do find it really hard getting taken seriously, just because of the fact that my voice does sound young and, in air quotes, immature. That's some of the common misconceptions about Apraxia speech. Excuse the noise. And right now I'm with my friends. Casino couple slots. We're having a really good time. Thank you so much, Bluesy, and that means a lot to hear. I'm just finishing up my studies, and unfortunately, I didn't have time to work a full-time job while doing school at the same time. I'm finishing my digital design degree, and once I graduate, I do plan on being a freelance artist who works with YouTubers and anybody who needs any graphical art. For Apraxia speech, going back to Apraxia speech, I was diagnosed at age 4 because I could barely say the words moo or ma, moo for no, ma for mom. That is when That's when my family and all the education specialists knew that something was up. Because number one, everyone else my age was speaking in full sentences. Number two, I was not able to crawl, turn out the walk, to move as easily as the other people. Turns out Apraxia speech not only impacts your mouth, but it also impacts it can impact your entire body, from your waist, from your feet to your toes to your fingers. It is a muscular disorder sometimes. So that what Apraxia does. Another thing about Apraxia is that it does take a lot of intensive therapy sessions to reduce the impacts. It does not completely go away, but rather I had to do a lot of hip exercises, a lot of occupational therapy, meaning that I had to practice moving my hands and my arms just to be able to crawl. My mom, she taught me how to military crawl by holding my torso up and having me crawl across a mattress. Another thing is about Apraxia in general, is I had to do three intensive speech therapy sessions a week. And yes, all dope things. Another thing about Apraxia speech is that I have very little volume control. Due to my Apraxia, I sometimes have a hard time regulating my voice just because my mouth muscles do not work properly. Whenever I try to speak a little bit quietly or I try to speak softly, it often sounds like I'm gurgling water just because I sound like because my jaw feels like it's like trapped. It's like really hard to explain, like this pressure, and my throat feels like it's ballooning with air. That is how my mouth works. Also, I do have auditory processing disorder, meaning that I hear the word loud, meaning that everything sounds twice as loud as it does for everybody else, mostly everybody else. Hey, we three kings, good to see you. Thank you, Scott K. I have actually moved on in my life, and right now I'm focusing my life on freelance and just enjoying my 20s. Good to see you, I three kings. That's definitely another, in quotation marks, side effects of Apraxia is like the yelling. Sometimes when I try whispering, I can sustain whispering for a short period of time. However, it does get rather fatiguing. That is why I often hear, Simon, can you repeat yourself a lot during casual conversations. However, when I am doing a presentation, that phrase is very rare and far between because my speech does come out very clear when I can speak at a higher volume. Woody K is asking, I know it's kind of a little, I forgot what I was going to say, welcome to Apraxia speech. When are you doing some amazing art, Simon? That's a great question. I do want to get back to some art, hopefully next week. And hey, Casino Lady Slots, good to see you. So, somebody else has pointed out, Simon, why do you sound so repetitive? You're literally saying the same thing over and over and over again. Why do you keep saying because, why? That is not a great Apraxia question. As an Apraxic individual, my mouth and my mind do not work as planned. I'm able to think of an entire paragraph which I see in front of me, but when I go to verbally read that paragraph, it comes out the way I am saying right now. I also have a really hard. I do find it at times whenever I'm speaking on the spot, non-scripted, non-rehearsed, that my speech does come out as repetitive just because like the words because, why, and just my mouth has rehearsed them the most, and therefore that's the easiest words to produce. That is why I often sound repetitive and sometimes say and regurgitate things 3 to 5 times or even 10 times depending on the complexity. I often say something once, but then I have to go back and re-say it again, and sometimes I have to say it up to 10 times since I am not able to capture the entire essence or capturing the full breadth of what I want to say. 1 second, the hot tub will come back, so we got to yell a little bit more. Thank you, Behavia. That is right. It is okay not to be perfect. And it's okay to keep on going. Casino Lady Sauce is asking, did you get to go on a cruise? I actually not go on a cruise at all. Matter of fact, I went to enjoy Reno. And for those who said that I would never walk, that I would never talk, or that I would never go anywhere on my own, I partnered with Hillbilly Slots to film slot machine videos and help him with his thumbnails. I help Hillbilly Slots with his thumbnails, his logos, his graphics. Yeah, his graphics and filming and editing videos. It is a lot of fun, and yes, I am able to walk even though I'm Apraxic. Bluesy says, you're getting your words out about Apraxia. Never apologize for who you are. A lot of us are happy to see you. You have a platform and getting information out of Apraxia. Thank you so much, Bluey. That means a lot. This is exactly why this is exactly why I go live. And this is exactly why I enjoy being in the chat with everybody. Hey, Matt's Gambling Slots, good to see you. So if anybody has any questions about Apraxia, please let me know. I also decided to go live right now just because, as you can see behind me, the sun is setting really fast and I was losing my window to be outside and enjoy the weather. I actually find it really wild that when I was in kindergarten, back in kindergarten, that one of my special ed teachers actually refused to listen to what my mother had to say. My mother did advocate, saying that I did have intellect, and that I was able to comprehend information. However, my kindergarten teacher and the special ed aide didn't want to listen. Rather, they treated me as if I was a 5-year-old in a 2-year-old's body. My aide was notorious for asking me, Simon, what color are your shoes? Simon, can Simon give Rita the rabbit? Oh, Simon, what's the colors of the rainbow? Looks like you're about to cry again, Simon. So let's sing the colors of the rainbow. Pink, red, brown, yellow, blue. That was one of the realities I faced. That was one of the realities I faced during my early education. And unfortunately, school does carry, as an Apraxic individual, school does carry a lot of baggage. Hey, Roboto Slots and Ross says, what, New York channel? Yes, I'm getting your art done. Thank you, Bluey. Sometimes I wish I could say that everything was rainbows and sunshine, but unfortunately, that would be a lie. And the one thing I refuse to do is to sugarcoat my reality for anybody or anyone's comfort. That is why I share my story so openly on all my platforms, just in hopes that somebody else does not have to go through the extent of what I am going through. I agree, Casino Lady Slots 100%. Hey, James Mitchell, cash out. I agree 100% that things should have been way better, and another thing I really learned to really sum things up is that everybody should assume, no matter who you are, everybody should assume competence and knowledge. Just because somebody may not be able to communicate to you does not mean that they're listening with a full intent and that they are thirsty and hungry for new knowledge. Casino Lady Slots is asking, are you in Denver? I'm actually in SoCal right now, and it has not snowed. Good to see you, Bubba. And you too, Ross. My Apraxia. Yeah, another interesting thing that people did point out was my reluctance to climb on playground structure. I actually find it very intimidating because I didn't have great didn't have any great muscle coordination. That is so cool, James. Well, that is so cool, James. I didn't realize that the sun was shining. Didn't know that the sun was shining. I remember when I was in Denmark doing my study abroad 2022. The sun literally shone until 11 p.m. and we'd be walking on at 11 p.m. wondering why everything was closed. We thought it was only 6 p.m. Nope. We check our phones. Whoops. It's 11 p.m. Oh, thank you, Ross. I really appreciate that. It actually took me years to learn how to smile, especially for the camera. And James is asking, what part of SoCal are you in? I'm actually close by Harris's Casino. And that's why I was thinking about Casino Lady Slots. They got a lot of snow over the weekend. And that really sucks. That really sucks. I don't like having to cancel casino trips. It's kind of a downer. What part of Alaska will you be in, out of curiosity? I honestly find it wild to think about. That if you do have a really good support system, and if you do like have people who actually believe in who believe in advocate for you since childhood, just how much progress you can make. Another thing that really riles me up is when people say, I don't think we should teach Tessa math. I don't think we should teach Tessa math, diamond math. She would never be able to count. I don't think we should ever teach Tessa how to integrate socially. She would never be social. I don't think we should ever teach Simon how to make friends. She would never have friends. And all this does add up, and all these connotations do add up, and make it really hard for somebody. To actually be able to socialize or integrate into society. When people start assuming that somebody cannot do something before they can. Thank you, Casino Lady Thoughts. That means a lot to hear. I've been through some pretty rough situations, but it's definitely a relief to be coming out the other side and to be living my best life I can right now. I've not been to Okinawa, Alaska yet, but I would love to hear about your tour. Viva Las Alaska. I also cannot sing Happy Birthday until I was at least 12 years old, and I did not have my first phone call until I was 12 years old. 12 was definitely a milestone year where I successfully sang Happy Birthday, and I had my first phone call with one of my friends about Europe. I also had a really huge milestone. When I was 18 years old, actually 16, actually 17, because that's when I knew the following ABCs. I actually went to Montessori school for my kindergarten and Montessori. They didn't teach me the alphabet. So I was the only kid in the Spanish class in high school that did not know my ABCs. James Mitchell says, well, Simon, you are a good friend of mine and many more. So all good in the hood. Aw, thanks. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Will you be my friend? That's gonna be so exciting. What ports are you stopping at? Oh, your mom's gonna have a great time. I've been to Hawaii, but I've never been to Alaska. Alaska is definitely on my bucket list for the state I want to be in and I want to visit in. I'm curious, James, how close are you to Harris's? I also really appreciate being here, and I really do have a good time. I really do have a good time chatting with everybody and being on YouTube. I know it's kind of random, a little social media tidbit is, unfortunately, my Facebook is not really boosting my outright content, and that's like something a little strange with Facebook. I usually do all my Apraxia content on my Facebook page. Simon says anything is possible. My life with Apraxia speech. But because of how Facebook's been, how Facebook's been acting up, I've been doing a lot more of my Apraxia content here on YouTube. That's right, Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. And also, do you know that Mr. Rogers was colorblind? He could not tell the difference between split pea soup and his iconic red tiger. Also, not tiger, but jacket. Also, for Mr. Rogers, he also got his start in TV when he and another producer used to run a kids segment on I forgot which news station, but I believe it was ABC, And what would happen is like they would play reruns of all cartoons, but sometimes the tape broke, so they would have to improvise and do puppet shows. That's where the Cuckoo Clock Tiger came from, I believe. And also, yeah, and also there's like a spin-off of Mr. Rogers, like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood called Will You Be My Neighbor? And it's about the tiger named Fred. Good to see you too, Plasma, and things are going great now because it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Aww. I really hope you get to see all of Alaska too. What parts of Alaska do you recommend me visiting? I didn't know about Mr. Rogers feeding the goldfish. I did see the Mr. Rogers documentary and movie, and the song about that it's okay to be different, and that it's okay to love and to love yourself, and the song about being the importance of loving everybody no matter who they are and what they do really touched me, and it actually sent me into tears. One segment of Mr. Rogers I fondly remember was when Mr. Rogers was sitting down, and he was like, well, we're going to see what it feels like sitting there for a minute. He actually got his time out and said it for a minute, and we all sat there for a minute. Aww. Blue Eye says, it's because a little girl asked if he fed the fish, so every day he said, I fed the fish. Aww, now I remember that segment. That was so sweet. What I really love about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is how much it focuses on inclusion and how everybody can be a neighbor, no matter the challenges and no matter what they go through, that everybody is welcomed into the neighborhood and that there is a seat for everybody at the table, no matter what your background is and no matter what you do. James was asking, Simon, what was your question again? Well, the question was, what parts of Alaska do you recommend visiting? That's right. Blue Eye says, always a seat at the table. If not, make your presence known and demand a seat. That is right, especially in the business world. One of the hard things about my Apraxia is negotiating business deals and being able to get my foot in the door. Because unfortunately in the business world it's very cutthroat, and a lot of business people do focus heavily on verbal communication and how well you're able to do your elevator pitch. Unfortunately, due to my Apraxia, my Apraxia does make it slightly harder for me to be able to do my concise elevator pitch, especially if I'm trying to explain myself or explain an idea or new project. I do find it hard when I must explain the logic behind a project and make a persuasive argument for why we should do a business deal. That is why I do have a hard time in business, but I've actually found walkaways where I say, hey, would you like to talk to me later? I can send you an email. Or hey, would you like me to send you a text instead, and we can talk later. Also, I realize it's getting pretty late and the sun is setting. Well, I really do want to thank everybody for watching, and also James, I will let you finish up your answer. Oh, that is so awesome. I've been to Dalton, Hillary. That's good to know. Let me get out of the sprinkle range. I'm so happy to hear right now. And Blue Eyes says, sadly, you'll need someone to help you out with talking in the meeting. Once your foot is in the dome, you'll take control and demand that you listen to them talk. Very well said. And with that, that is a perfect closing remark for our live from tonight. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And thank you, everybody, for being here and for sharing this very special day and moment as Apraxia around this day. I hope to see you around soon and see you at next slot machine or wherever we will be. Have a great night, everybody. Bye-bye.